Fiji has been quite a forerunner in terms of the implementation of SDGs, particularly relating to life underwater, SDG 14, and climate change. As you might have known, Fiji presided over World Oceans Conference in June this year, and is looking forward to its November presidency of COP23. So I guess in the Pacific particularly, we've mobilized around those two goals, particularly because it relates to the region in terms of challenges, unique challenges, I think I'd say. You know, PIANGO has developed a monitoring tool, and it's trialed this in the beginning of the year, and that's looking at processes between government and CSO. So government processes that look at the work of SDG implementation, monitoring. And so just judging by Fiji's preparations for World Oceans, I think that there is political will for the inclusion of civil society. Perhaps the one way it can improve is to look at how discussions within these multi-stakeholder forums are being facilitated, because we'll come from different sectors, we all speak different languages, and so the need for dialogues to be taking place is critical. Dialogues that it's not only about talking about what we're hoping to do, but it's a discussion that should lead to collaborations, partnerships, that should lead to the achievement of a particular goal, right? I think that that's what the Pacific needs at this point in time, apart from the need to set up a coordination mechanism. It's also to ensure that this coordination mechanism is equipped or has the capacity to facilitate discussions that lead to collaborations, that lead to the achievement of goals. That for us is probably a need that's shared across the Pacific Island countries, and that's something that we're finding in our surveys. I think coming here and being part of the discussions with my CSO colleagues from Asia has really made me realize that we're a bit slow in our perhaps the rollout of the mechanisms within government. Our surveys are showing that some of our partners or at least our affiliates in the different subregions of the Pacific, their awareness of the different goals, and even more so of who's coordinating this at government level, is very low. And I think that that's probably a general overview of how the Pacific is coming, apart from Samoa. Samoa has been one of the first countries to volunteer to be reviewed, and they've included the civil society organizations. There's some particular views as to how this went, but Samoa is kind of ahead of other countries in the Pacific in that sense. Just on the first day has been a rich, diverse discussion. I mean, it's the kind of discussions that, or the kind of insights that I wouldn't get in the Pacific. For instance, only one Pacific country has participated in the National Voluntary Review, Samoa. And so coming here has, really exposed me to other countries that have participated, like Japan that presented earlier this morning. Looked at the creative ways in which it, raised awareness in Japan, particularly with school children, using music, popular culture. For me, for PIANGO at least, our hope is that we will get our civil society members to encourage their governments to participate in the National Voluntary Review, and just hoping to Yeah, just learning from what the different countries from the Asian region that has participated in the HLPF, seeing how they use their civil society in this process, what lessons can be learned from that, and just taking that back and sharing that with the Pacific colleagues. In Samoa, UNDP played a very critical role in preparing Samoa for the National Voluntary Review. So they convened a platform for, or perhaps there was an existing platform that they helped facilitate discussions on to prepare for the HLPF in 2016, and in which one of our affiliates participated in, and also prepared them for the New York contributions, right? I think that there is still some room for UNDP to sort of step up its game in terms of SDG in the Pacific. I think it particularly has a role in supporting civil society to engage effectively at country levels. While this has happened in Samoa, I think that for other countries in the Pacific region, this has yet to happen, and I think UNDP must play a role to foster that engagement, right? So that they, all stakeholders are engaging in this process. I think that UNDP has that critical role to play. It needs to really encourage a lot more of these discussions, a lot more of the public discourse on SDGs. You know, I agree. That's a trend that's happening in the Pacific as well. Our survey. So, as I'd explained before, PIANGO has developed and trialed a tool called the SDG Process Barometer that particularly looks at government processes on SDGs. And we've done a survey across 5 countries with civil society organizations. And what it's indicating is that, you know, that awareness on the SDGs is very low. Awareness of where, you know, government focal points are, it's very low. They don't know who's coordinating SDGs. I think that the UNDP has a role to play in that, and I think that when the UNDP is almost a fair referee in participation, right? So it needs to be in there to monitor how civil society is engaging, if it's engaging at all, if private sector is engaging, if so, how. So UNDP, if it's not present in these discussions, if it's not leading some of these discussions, then what will happen is that it will, you know, the SDGs will commit the same, or probably feature the same gaps that the MDGs had. And so even though civil society is trying its best in advocating on the different goals, the UN must continue to play that role to monitor how governments are convening the spaces and how CSOs are engaging. And if there are gaps, that they need to step into those roles to ensure that the gaps are filled, really.